Minerva.
Here.
Bruce Horn.
Here.
Monica Hassel.
Here.
Mary Kay Jacobson.
Here.
Greg Jones.
Here.
Barb Storr.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 7 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Okay, well, if you'll join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting of May 22nd,
So moved.
2025. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Are there any member questions before we start the agenda?
Is this on? Nico Sergio, 62 Brummel Lane. A few months back, I asked that on the next agenda item, that the county commissioners be added to the list of speakers besides Mayor Foster. Is there a reason that hasn't been approved? And we have a county commissioner here today, at least one.
We always try to call them, Nico.
But can't you add that to the agenda?
Sure we can.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beth Jones, Hickory Ridge Lane. I have one question. Is there going to be a revision of the proposed fence policy presented today?
Yes, it's on the agenda.
And
Yeah,
that
it's
will-
on the agenda, so we'll get to
And that will be up for comments for a couple weeks?
30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Clarity, Greg, we're asking questions of everything on the agenda,
Yeah.
like the financial, okay. So, financial questions, how much is in the operating reserve? And can you give us some examples of where that reserve might be? For example, when you met with the fire department yesterday, if you were to give them training money that's not in the budget, would that come out of the operating reserve? Things like that. Yesterday, we talked about the restricted money, 3.2 million. Is that 3.2 million out of the capital reserve? Next point, police department's about 243,000 over budget. You mentioned yesterday there are 2 people short with overtime and everything else, yet they're doing EMR training. I have a question about that. So maybe you can explain it further. I don't know where they have the resources. From the election committee, perhaps Kathy can go into detail as to what makes a eligible member and that definition, so that as it pertains to running for the board, so we can have clarity around that. And then finally, I didn't see anything on the agenda regarding the fire department and the emergency response in the meeting that you had yesterday, so maybe you could give us an update on that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Hearing no one else, we'll go ahead and go to Mayor Foster. Wherever you want to go.
All right, I'll just grab this and turn around. That's it. Excuse my voice. I decided to work in my vegetable garden, and it has gotten the best of me. I feel great, but I sound terrible. I did survive it. It was pretty close, though. It was very hot lately. A couple of brief items from Cumberland County government. Construction update. The archives renovation is completed, and we are having an open house on July 11th at 2 o'clock, and everyone is invited. It's on East 1st Street in downtown Crossville. The courthouse update, the repairs are done, the remodel is underway. We hope to be moved into the original 1905 portion of the building late summer and then they will do the additional work on the 1970s edition, and then hopefully we'll be done this time next year. So that's taken quite a while, but it was a lot of significant work to do. And the last thing is that the budget is underway. Another meeting today of the Budget Committee, and hopefully we will have that resolved within the next several weeks. And that is all I have, but I will take questions if anyone has one.
Any questions for Mayor Foster?
All right.
Okay. Colleen, do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. And I should introduce Colleen Mull. She's one of our commissioners. Okay. Phil Smith, Veterans and First Responders.
Thank you for providing a chair. I want to be comfortable. I want you to be comfortable. This is going to be a while. I'm teasing. Thank you for this opportunity. I just wanted to update you on the status of the Veterans and First Responders Memorial at Robin Hood Park. And I think many of you have probably noticed that there actually has been a lot of activity down there over the past several months. And the highlight of the memorial is the installation of the crab orchard stone. The original plan that we had, it was going to install the fake stone. But we decided that we live in the area where this stone is quarried. It's a signature for this county, for this part of the state. And it would just be very remiss on our part if we didn't do that. So we made provisions to use the stone. We had a Keck stonemasonry doing the work. They're doing excellent work, much better than what I anticipated. And I think if you go down there and you inspect it, you'll be very pleased with it. This memorial is going to last for a long time. And it's designed in such a way that it's flexible enough that when situations change in the future, those can be recognized as well. We have plenty of room for more pavers. We'll add them. We have room for more displays to recognize historical events. And so it's really a well-designed memorial. We anticipate that Friday, tomorrow, the flagpoles will actually be installed. We've had them for some time. They've been stored at the Crab Orchard Utility District offices, and they have been our partner in this all along. I mean, we couldn't have done this without them. And so those will be installed. Then following that, we have the light, excuse me, we have the lighting that will have to be finished. The underground work has been done, but we just need to connect them. And we have some minor drainage and irrigation things that need to be taken care of. So our plan is that we will probably be able to do the dedication on this, as early as August. We may delay it, but we certainly could be finished with it. The last big thing that we'll have to do is install the bronze plates that we have ordered. Those take a while. They're custom made, but they will add a lot to it. We've used local workmanship workers. The signage, the sandblasting has been done by a local lady. She's done excellent work. We have a local artist that's been involved in painting. If you go down there and you see the eagles, they're fabulous. They're really lifelike, and so we've taken a great deal of pride in the workmanship that's gone into this. We didn't want to rush into it. 6 years ago when we started this, and it's a long time ago, and I was going through some old papers there, and I found a sketch of what it was going to look like. And my estimate was that we could do this in 6 months, and it would cost us about $80,000. Well, I was way off, but anyway, this is something that the community is going to be very proud of. The county is going to be proud of. The state is going to be proud of. There is nothing else like it. And I think that it'll be a draw for this area. we're tying together a lot of different themes, you know, and you'll see that as you go down there. But, so that's that. And then just one final thing I want to say is that we continue to enjoy our working relationship with the club. When Ken was on the board, Ken Florell, he was our liaison, and he helped us with a lot of things. Bruce now is our liaison, and he's been a great help to us. It's important, and of course, Bruce is really helpful because he's a Navy guy. There's 2 Marines on the board, so he helps keep their egos in check. So that's important to us, you know. So anyway, we do have a couple things so that we do want you to consider. One, there's a tree that's probably going to fall, and it's next to the pump house, and that's adjacent to our property. If that falls, it's going to do a lot of damage, and it'll fall right on our flag plaza. So we need to look at getting that out of there at a time that's convenient. Again, as I mentioned in the past, there's a walkway there that's made out of gravel. That should probably have a hard surface on it at some point. Yesterday I was down there, and there was an individual in a walker, and it was being escorted by 2, I think they were going down there to look at one of the pavers. He was having a hard time navigating that. And I think by the nature of our community, I think we just need to take that into consideration. Safety is important. And then I think those are the 2 main things that we'd want to mention at this point. But again, I enjoy working with you folks. I thank you for your patience. Thank you for the patience in the community. But we're getting there. We're sticking to our promise. And our promise was that we're going to have a great design, we're going to have great workmanship, and we're going to have great materials. And we've done that. It's taken longer, it's cost more money, but when it's done, it's done. And so anyway, thank you very much. And if you got any questions, I'm glad to take them, or I'll be around after the meeting too. So.
Are there any questions?
Anybody back here?
I would echo what Phil said. If you have not been over to the memorial, it's well worth your time to go over there and look at it. It is really going to be spectacular when it's finished. Yeah. And thank you, Phil, for what you started and your committee has continued to work on, and now we're starting to see the fruits of your labor. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Does Colleen have anything?
I already asked. Okay. President's report. We're doing something different. Rather than just reading the across the board, we're splitting up the president's report and the general manager's report. We're just going to kind of talk about the topics. We will publish the across the board so that it gets in the paper so people will hear all the topics, but we're going to do a little differently. So we're kind of splitting what the report is. So I'll go through my part of it, and then later on you'll hear Bill's and the GM's group. Okay. I want to point out that we announced yesterday at the workshop that we will have a change in how we're doing the workshops going forward. The public portion of the workshop we are doing away with. We believe that what we've been seeing for the last several months is trending pretty well, is that the same topics that come up on Wednesday come up on Thursday. And there's a lot of overlap, and so rather than to have 2 meetings with all the overlap, we're going to have 1 meeting where we can talk about all of it. So we recognize that that may lengthen this meeting, but we'll get into all those topics. I want to be clear that we will also continue to have things like some of the special presentations we've had, like when we did the 10-year capital plan, when we did the cost of Druid, when we took a look at strategic planning, when we talked about the frequently asked questions on the amendment. We'll continue to have those, and we'll probably schedule those after we adjourn the board meeting. So those are still going to be there. And what we're trying to do is kind of get everything in one day so that people don't take up 2 days of their time to get through the board stuff, and we can do it all in one. So that's starting effective immediately. So starting with July, there will not be a public session of the board meeting for the workshop, but there will be opportunities for people to call, to discuss, ask questions, and that type of thing at this meeting. the covenants and restrictions. We're going right ahead with that. There's been a number of questions. We've been trying to respond to them as quickly as we can. I want everyone to note, and this is important, Tom Anderson, our declarant, will be here at 1:00 p.m. in the room next door to talk about the amendment from the declarant's perspective. And that's an important thing, because you've heard a lot of the board perspective, but it's very important that you hear why the declarant is involved with this and what his plan is. So he'll be here at 1:00. I encourage all of you to attend. I encourage you to bring your friends. This is the opportunity to ask questions of Tom, and I know he's ready to answer them, so please come to that one, okay? We made it a vote, well, not a vote really, but we decided yesterday that we're going to go ahead and let out the RFP, request for proposal, for the Comprehensive Community Master Plan. And that is a big deal, because what that's going to do is it's going to look at the whole campus of Fairfield Glade and look at it from a future perspective and see what our wants, needs, requirements are going to be for way out there. Now, that'll take a look not only at our current things like our own amenities, our own administration stuff, our own employee type of activities, maintenance and all of that, but it'll also look at the kinds of things that we think we need to do for emergency services, fire department, all of those kinds of things as well. So this is going to take some time, but we're going to let the RFP go out, and we'll let you know when we send it out. But this will be a big deal for the community, and it's depending on how the amendment goes, that will define a lot of the scope of what we're going to be looking at. So keep your ears peeled for that. There will be opportunities for community involvement, and we won't start it. We probably won't have anyone here probably till later on in the fall, but we'll start the RFP process now. I'm not going to talk about board elections because we have our chairperson of the election committee here, and I'm going to let Kathy handle that. So with that, we'll turn it over to the treasurer for the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Greg. The treasurer's report through May 2025. Overall revenues for through the month of May was behind schedule by approximately 7%, or $322,000. Assessment revenue was slightly lower, 0.23%, and other revenue exceeded the budget by approximately $46,000. Food and beverage are off the mark in snack bar revenue by approximately 7%, yet with Stonehenge exceeding expectations. Golf revenue was slightly off by approximately 7% year to date, but it is again exceeding expectations regarding net income by approximately $195,000. Cost of goods sold are better than budget with a variance of $26,000, which has been positive trend through May. It was anticipated that cost of goods sold would be approximately $871,000 for the year to date, and actual cost of goods sold were $845,000 respectively. Golf cost of goods sold are below expectations with a 7% savings. Food is in line with budget with a negative variance of 1.92%. POA expenses, operating expenses. We are still trending positively for POA for overall expenses of $242,000 below, and the payroll at 2.59%. Expenses year to date were $8.9 million against an estimate of $9.1 million. Again, another savings. Materials and supplies, as well as payroll, were better than expected, again, with combined savings of 36%. Overall, we are ahead of budget by $242,000. Our net income for the POAs and amenities are behind schedule by $15,000. And based on the size of our budget through May, we feel this is within tolerance and are pleased with our results so far. Wastewater and sewer. Revenue, top-line revenue for sewer is exactly in line with estimates at $1.3 million, or 0.11% through May. Operating expenses, including payroll, were similar to April and prior. Large variances were experienced positively for payroll, materials, and repairs again in May. Total in this area of general expenses was a positive $169,000 against estimates through May 31st. Again, net income, the net income for sewer was better than budgeted expectations. For 2025 May actuals, sewer reported $326,000 against a budget of $155,000, which is a positive variance of $170,000. That's the treasurer's report through May 2025.
Okay. I should have also mentioned on the announcement about Tom's meeting here at 1, that'll also be live streamed, and we will archive it after the meeting. So if you can't be here, you'll at least anyway be able to either see it on live stream, or you'll be able to see it later when we post it. Bill, General Manager's report.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you all for being here this morning. I'm pleased to say that at the Druid Hills Clubhouse construction site, the blasting has come to an end. I appreciate everyone's patience and tolerance with that. It was necessary, however, due to the amount of rock. We did not know going in what we were going to encounter there, and there was some of the most dense rock that our site preparation company, Hopper, who's been doing a lot of work with us over many years, has ever encountered. This work is necessary, this blasting, in order to accommodate the lower level of the clubhouse, the basement, if you will. The prior clubhouse did not have a basement underground level, and this will accommodate our below clubhouse golf cart storage, additional storage for the clubhouse food and beverage, as well as the service drive for deliveries and such will come in to that lower receiving area where there will be a receiving deck on the left side of the clubhouse. So that's what was necessary. There is a significant cost saving by blasting as opposed to just having to jam it out, with the sledge it out and so forth. But anyway, so that's good, and you will start to see in short order the site prep work will be wrapping up here in another week or so, in which our general contractor, J&G, will be mobilizing fully to begin the construction phase, and you'll start to, in short order, see some of the clubhouse start to rise from the ground. So a lot of good news on that front. As for the fire station EMS project, we did receive our first project cost estimates from our general contractor, Stubbs Construction. They were based on the current available set of drawings, which was around 40% completion. We are anticipating another more complete set, not a fully complete set of drawings, but about a 70 to 80% complete set of drawings within the week of next week, or immediately following the holiday. And at that point, we will get a revised cost estimate, because obviously the general contractor will have much more detail and further explanation so that they can sharpen their costs. So we will be looking forward to those and getting final approval on the final budget, final cost, I should say, and at which time you'll begin to see shortly a lot more site preparation on that site for the fire station, and we anticipate commencing construction on that late summer, early fall. So we'll keep you updated on that. We've also had requests, and rightfully so, for a dedication on the website to that project. We'll put up the floor plans, getting a rendering of the building to put up there to give you an idea of what it'll look like from the architect's perspective, and additional details regarding cost estimates and so forth. So that'll be helpful to keep you up to date going forward on the project, and that'll be underway shortly. The Racket Center Expansion Steering Committee has met several times over the last several weeks. The committee has toured several facilities throughout the region, as well as collected information from nationally recognized athletic complex construction firms. They are in process of reviewing this data along with the initial project cost estimates. They made a presentation yesterday to just a general update as to their status to the board yesterday, but we'll be making a full presentation at the board meeting in July, and we'll have their formal recommendation to present at that time. Had some questions about activity that was been witnessed down at the Stables property. I just want to make everyone aware that that is ongoing general maintenance on that property. We have an agreement with a gentleman that has been providing maintenance services in some of our properties in the wastewater management area that are extensions of our operation. He's been clearing some trees, bush hogging as needed. We also had with all the rain we had, there was a large area, soggy, wet area that was coming up close to the backside of the barn, and turns out that was a former pond that had been filled in by the former tenant, and it was best to go ahead and reform that and allow that pond to exist in order to control that water. So that work was being done as well. We'll also be doing some repairs to some fencing along the property line, particularly along Westchester. So I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. We will also be, during this interim period until further decisions are made by the board with regards to the stables, but in order to eliminate any confusion of guests that are here, and not to mention the Wildwood name is not we don't have rights to that name. So those markings on the amenity signs throughout the community will be removed, and then they can be replaced at a future time when and if necessary. The 2025 Tennessee PGA Senior Open was a tremendous success. There were numerous compliments from the participants, the Tennessee PGA, the spectators, as to the overall quality and professionalism of the event, management team, the course playing conditions, and hospitality. Special thanks are in order to all of the tournament volunteers, our golf professional team, especially Jeff Houston and Jeremy Jones, our Stonehenge Golf Course Superintendent Sean Van Hoos, and the Stonehenge Agronomy team, the Director of Marketing Events, Mary Jo Page, events managers, Abby Julian and Kim Toth, our F&B Director, Linda James, and the F&B team, our friends at WATE for their thorough on-site tournament media coverage, and finally, a sincere thank you to the Fairfield Glade community for your enthusiastic support and sponsorship year after year of this event. It is truly one of the premier golf events in the state of Tennessee, and we look forward to even greater success at the upcoming Women's Open in July. I want to remind some folks of some upcoming food and beverage events we have. There's going to be a picnic at the Pavilion on the Thursday, July 3rd from 3 to 6 at the St. George Marina. You can get additional information, and ticket sales are available at Stonehenge or at the St. George Marina. They also have plans on Tuesday, July 15th for a 80s throwback party featuring the band Soulfish, and that will be available with full buffet and so forth. Reservations are required, so be sure to call and make plans to enjoy that event. Should be a lot of fun. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize some members of our wastewater management team for their achievement, and also a special welcome to our new wastewater superintendent. So, Bruce and gentlemen.
Yes, you do.
After 14 and a half years, it's time for me to pass the baton, and I'm confident Scott is the perfect person to receive it. So, Scott hails from North Dakota, and we're glad to have him here and part of the Fairfield team. Thanks for coming. I'd also like to recognize Dan Johnson, the collection system supervisor, who successfully passed the Tennessee wastewater operator certification. So Dan is now a Tennessee certified wastewater operator. Jason Dyer, our collection system mechanic, electrician, successfully passed the collection exam. So Jason is now a certified collection system operator. So thank you very much.
You done? Thank you, gentlemen, and thank all of you, and that concludes my report.
Okay, I just want to put a stamp on what Bill said, because I've gotten emails, phone calls, all of that. The board has not made any decisions about the stables. So this is all maintenance, just exactly what Bill described. So no one should take from that that we've made a decision of what's happening with the stables. We have not. And we'll continue to evaluate it. There was one question about the agreement that we have with the person who's doing that maintenance. And yes, there are exit clauses with it. If we make a decision of something that we're going to do with the stables, we can get out of the agreement. So please don't take it as any decision's been made, because it hasn't. Okay. Kathy, election committee.
Greg,
Oh, I'm sorry, Barb. I'm sorry.
how dare you forget me?
How dare I forget you?
Good morning. Wyndham timeshare revenues. The center, month-to-date, $13,600. Year-to-date, $16,900, and that's 33% of like revenue. The Racket Center, $1,449. Year-to-date, $7,000, 4% of like revenue. Dartmoor Marina, $6,100. Year-to-date, $10,800, which is 17% of like revenue. St. George, $3,500, and year-to-date is $7,000, which is 12% of like revenue. Golf, $96,700, and year-to-date, $221,600, which is 8% of like revenue. Food, $35,300, and year-to-date, $95,900, which is 9% of like revenue, for a total of month-to-date, $156,700, year-to-date, $410,300, and 10% of like revenue. Wyndham visitors, month-to-date is 4,965, and year-to-date, we've had 21,120 visitors. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Kathy. This is Kathy Tipton, who's the chairperson of the election committee.
Good morning. So again, I'm Kathy Tipton. I'm the chair of the election committee. And we're pleased to be able to oversee this year's election for one at-large director position. The election is underway with a slate of two candidates, Bruce Horn and Isaac Zerker. The candidate nominated by the declarant for the declarant director is Ellen Anderson. The declarant has the right, privilege, and option to nominate one or more persons for this one voting position on the Board of Directors. The candidate nominated by the Timeshare Council Presidents for Interval Owner Director is Mark McLean. The Timeshare Executive Council selects a slate of one or more candidates for this one voting position on the Board of Directors. The at-large director, the declarant director, and the interval owner director are elected for 3-year terms by the entire voting membership of the Fairfield Glade Community Club. You may recall our election covers 4 areas. First is the application period, which ended noon Wednesday, June 4th. We are now in the time for members to learn about the candidates. The application for each candidate, which provides a brief profile including biographical details and contact information, may be viewed by logging on to the Community Club's 2025 election website at fairfieldglade.com. Scroll down to latest news and select Learn More on the election tile. The election committee is preparing to publish in the newspapers, on the club election website, and via e-blast the candidates' answers to committee-developed questions that we believe will broaden the community's knowledge about the candidates. The Meet the Candidates Forum for the at-large director position will be held Thursday, July 31st, here at the center at 6:30 p.m. The event will be live streamed, and the video will be available on the club election website by Friday, August 1st. We hope you will attend in person or online to learn more about the candidates as they respond to questions submitted by members of the community. After the event, the attendees will have an opportunity to talk with candidates. Questions will be posed to the candidates by the election committee based on current community events and suggestions received from members. And we are asking that members submit their questions to the committee via email to fgccelection@fairfieldglade.cc, or by delivering your questions to the administrative office. All questions must be submitted to the committee by Friday, July 11th, so we've got a couple more weeks to receive questions from the community. The Meet the Candidates Forum will provide the opportunity again to learn more about each candidate and hear the individual candidates' positions on various issues facing Fairfield Glade property owners. Third, voting matters. Your vote matters. Voting via electronic ballot begins Monday, August 12th and ends Friday, September 6th at 11:59 p.m. Be sure to watch for your ballot via email and contact the administrative office if you do not receive your electronic ballot. The committee also encourages all members to ensure their account is in good standing to be eligible to vote. Any account balance greater than 0 as of Monday, June 30th, will result in a status of not in good standing. So if you have any questions about your account balance, please contact Accounts Receivable Department at 931-484-3780. Last, the annual meeting. Results of the election will be announced at the annual meeting here at the center on Friday, September 19th. And so I know we have at least one question, so I have a question for you before I answer the question. How many here have gone onto the election website? And I want everybody's hand to go up. No one's hand is going up. A few hands have gone up, so when you go home, log onto your account on the club website and go to the election website and check it out. You can learn more about the candidates, you can learn more about the election, you can learn more about voting, so I encourage you to do that. Thank you. And so your question, is that okay to talk about that now? Okay. Pretty simple. If you can't sleep some night, go to the bylaws on the club website and go to section 4, and you can learn a lot about the election. This is our Bible. This is what the election committee uses. And so to be eligible to be a candidate, you have to be a property owner for 3 years as of the annual meeting, which is September 19th. You have to be in good standing. Your assessments have to be paid. And that's basically it. And you have to apply. So basically those things.
Exactly as instructed.
Exactly as instructed, yes. Are there any other questions? You have to be a property owner, yes, for 3 years as of the annual meeting.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit to that what Kathy said. If you go to section 4.06, that gives, Tom, to your question about what the candidates, the criteria, for the interval, or for the declarant director, they'll be elected from a slate of one or more nominees selected by the declarant, and which shall be furnished to the election committee for inclusion in the ballot.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, that's the declarant. For the interval owner, shall be elected from a slate of one or more nominees selected by the Timeshare Executive Council.
That's correct, yes.
And then if you go down into the at-large candidates, there's a couple other criteria. Well, actually, all the candidates have to meet one of these criteria, which is the application that they turn in shall include direct financial dealings with, or that may affect the club, an agreement to disclose any potential conflicts interest regarding any action under consideration of the club. So that'll be something that will be done once we know who the elected person is. There's non-disclosures and also conflict of interest and fiduciary responsibilities that they sign right after the annual meeting before we start the election of the officers. And then finally, for all candidates, none of them can be an employee of the club, and that means whether they're designated as full-time, part-time, temporary, seasonal, or any other category. If they're an employee of the club, they cannot hold a position, whether it's declarant, timeshare, or at-large. Okay?
Any other questions?
So the timeshare group votes on their community. There's no requirement that they have to be a resident in Fairfield Glade. That's correct. Is that correct?
That is correct.
They don't have to be resident. They have to.
They don't have to be a resident. They don't have to live here.
Yeah,
That's,
they don't have to live here,
And they don't have no property. And I'm talking the
the timeshare.
representative. Doesn't have to own property, doesn't have to live here.
They don't have to.
they have to be nominated by the executive council.
Correct. But there's no requirement.
No.
Anything else? Thank you.
Now, just to clear up some things, we have one person running who is the corporate designee for the property that they own. Well,
The corporation owns. the
corporation owns it, and they're put in.
property. That was reviewed by council.
And we did check all this with council before we allowed the election to go forward. Okay? All right. Old business. Monica, you're up with the fence policy.
Hi, as you know, the fence policy was posted actually for over 30 days. This is the one that was first recommended. And we received a total of 47 comments, very helpful.
Speak into the mic.
Is it not on?
Yeah. You have to hold it pretty close.
We received a total of 47 comments, and they were very helpful. They were reviewed by the ACC, the ACO, and by me. A couple of the questions that people had or suggestions were really insightful. And so one of the things that was in the policy that was posted a couple months ago was that any fence that could be seen from the golf course or the lakes would have to have screening around it and around the part that faced them. And upon further review and looking at the comments from members, the ACC did decide to remove that section. So now it's just back to if you can see the fence from the front. And then what will happen is this will be posted again for 30 days, and so we can get any member comments for the rest of the policy. Now, one of the things that I learned through this, you guys get to learn with me, is that when we took the policy down, because it was no longer going to be voted on, it seems like we should have something there in place of it that says, this policy's been removed, look for another updated policy or something. We haven't figured out the words yet, but it seems like we need something because people were all worried, and there's no reason for you to worry. So we'll try to put something in place to do that better.
Okay. All right, new business. Bruce Evans, you want to come out, talk about our car for the boiler replacement?
So this morning, I'm presenting a car for $155,000 to Train Equipment Corp. to replace the boilers here in the CC. The boilers have been in service since 2008, and their condition has deteriorated to the point where they may not make it until this winter, at which time the CC would not have heat. And so Train has put together a proposal to replace both boilers upstairs, and they're $155,000. The capital reserve study showed them needing replacement in 2032, and that money is going to have to be moved up. They're at a critical point right now where a catastrophic failure of them floods upstairs, and where the water ends up is anybody's guess. So they're in bad shape.
Okay.
And Bruce, you mentioned yesterday that they're also leaking, small, but.
One has been taken out of service because of a leak, so we're down to one.
This has been an ongoing problem, and it really is one that needs to be fixed. If you spend any time here in the center, we all needed coats by the end of the day yesterday, so that was a little bit of a problem. And as Bruce told us yesterday, and I think this is very important, if we don't do these maintenance items like this one, we will not have heat here in the winter. That could be a problem. So this is really important that we address it, and I'm thankful, Bruce, for bringing it forward to let us know that we're at that point now. Any other questions from the board on this one? Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the car for boiler replacement and $155,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Revised boat sticker policy, Bill?
The revision to the boat sticker policy is really to clarify some loose ends that have been in existence far too long. It was confusing as to what the boat stickers, if they only applied to those that were in storage at the marinas. They apply to all boats that are owned and operated inside Fairfield Glade. So that was a recommended amendment to that policy to clarify that fact that all boats need to have a registered sticker.
So that'll be posted. People can look at it, and we'll vote on it next month. Okay? All right. Remarks by board members. Scott, do you want to say anything about the EMS?
Yeah. Tommy asked a question about the fire department and the EMR presentation they had yesterday. If you remember, during our strategic planning roadmap, we have on there a pilot of the EMR program. Chief Self has been working with the county, the sheriff's department, to get our officers, or get the process started to get officers trained so that we can get emergency medical responders to critical medical situations as the EMS is en route to that call. Another aspect of the EMR program, which the fire department had put together a presentation about 1.5 years ago, is to expand that program in partnership with the fire department. They made the presentation yesterday about how they would do that. There's a lot of logistics, a lot of coordination with Mayor Foster's team, the county, given the emergency, the medical aspect of it, the training and the logistics of who's called when, all those types of things. So that presentation was made to us, asking us if the time is right to have the fire department start that second step of our EMR program in Fairfield Glade, and the board is having some continuing discussion about that.
Anyone want to comment about the, either the police training? I don't know, Kate, if you want to take that one on, or do we want to wait?
Yeah, I believe Tom had a question
Tom
about.
had a question about police training and
The
people not being
budgeting,
fully
budgeting of
staffed.
EMR and the current operational budget.
My question is, given you're 2 people down, and all the overtime that the existing ones have to work, how do they have time to do EMR training?
Absolutely. So he's stating, how can we justify or have the logistics way of doing training, EMR training, if we're already 2 people down with staffing? So to clarify a little bit on the overtime, so May is heavily overtime under the Teach Us So grant. If you read our monthly report, you can see where we attended multiple Hands Across the Border events, which is extreme cost on overtime, but we get those reimbursements. So you won't see that reflect on the budget until we receive the reimbursement from the state, which when we do our quarter reimbursement or our quarter audit reports. Yes, we are 2 people down. Technically, one is against the budget, the other one is on long-term FMLA. So yes, we are short, but we are covering, and a lot of the overtime that you're seeing too is due to training purposes. So this is a big time and area where we are conducting training, which is required for overstaffing. I myself worked the road this week to cover for someone that was training. We have the capability and the logistics to send people to those training, and we're not going to do a full load. We have talked with EMS, who will be conducting the training and doing strategic steps of our goal is to have 100%, but of course we're not gonna be able to do that right off the bat. So our plan is to send 2 to 3 officers per training session until we can reach that goal. So I understand the numbers may look off-putting, but logistically we do have the ability and the manpower to do them. Does that make sense? And that's even if I'm covering in, like, there's plans for command staff that normally aren't on duty, will be covering those shifts, including myself. Does that help clarify that question? Any other further questions?
Okay, thank you, Kate. Some of the financial questions, I think we're gonna need to do a little digging, and we'll get back to you on those.
I've already
All right.
emailed him.
Well, why don't you go ahead and say what the answer was?
So in reference to the question for the operating reserve, we currently have, as of May 31st, 2.5 million. And the other question in reference to the 3.2 restricted account, that's from the capital improvement, which has a balance of 4.7 million.
Okay.
And they can be used, the operating reserve can be used for?
What can the operating?
What's the operating reserve used for?
So the operating reserve is used for generally board-approved projects that it's a very broad definition. I'll have to send you that actual definition.
So like if the fire department needed financing to get training at EMR, that could fall under that category?
No. I'll send you a definitive definition, and then we could start an email back and forth with that.
Fire, yeah, they're not part of our operations.
Right.
They're a separate legal entity.
Remember, the fire department funding that we give every year is a donation. It's not part of operations. Okay? All right? MK.
Good morning, everyone. I'm bringing forth another property policy. This is part of that whole package that was looked at back in 21-22 timeframe, but never codified. This one is titled the Property Credit Option Policy. And this is, again, one of those to help reduce the number of club-owned lots that we have. In an effort to reduce the inventory of A-tier properties, and as of May 31st, we had 306, owned by the community club. This initiative is being proposed to allow those members who currently own B or C tier properties to receive credit at the current rate that the board sets for the sales of ABC tier properties for their property when they purchase a club-owned A-tier property with the intent of building a personal residence. The policy goes into the constructs of needing to have a sill plate inspection within 2 years of this deal going in order to receive the credit for the B or C tier lot. And people can use up to 2 properties as long as those 2 properties they're looking to exchange are located immediately adjacent to each other. They have to have a common border shared. This will be posted until the next board meeting, so please send in your comments. Please read through it. And as always, I appreciate your input.
Okay. Any other comments from the community? Ron?
Tom Ratcliffe. First, I want to thank the board for their diligence in ensuring that we as members have all the correct information to make an informed vote on the amendment change. I, for one, have supported the change, and I'll admit, with some of the information circulating, I began to second guess myself until I got the correct facts. I only wish the board had put in the same efforts into their image, because if they had, perhaps they wouldn't have needed all these efforts to sell the amendment change. Let's face it, the board, and I mean this board and previous ones, have an image problem. Many members don't trust them. I don't mean to imply that they are stealing, violating our bylaws and CNRs, although maybe that happened. But what I mean is members are questioning whether they have the interest of the whole community at heart, meaning meetings secretly, withholding or managing information at meetings, a lack of accountability, no clear definition of how decisions are or have been made, an overall atmosphere that we are right and your opinions don't necessarily matter or are not reflective of the whole community. These beliefs or attitudes breed distrust. I haven't been here that long, but I saw this in the beginning, or beginnings to take shape when the strategic plan was updated. Members spoke out loud and clearly in focus groups meetings about the distrust of the board. I thought the board would act. Yet, fast forward, when the plan was presented, no mention. It is only now that supposedly it's being worked on. Then the question around transparency or lack
1 minute, Tom.
began, especially with executive sessions. This was addressed with a token, we will put topics discussed in executive sessions on the agenda. However, that's since stopped. Finally, I thought for sure it would be addressed with the stables issue, the lack of accurate financials, a clear, decisive reason or reasons on how the decision was made, and to close them. We can't discuss it or go into detail because of threatened litigation really didn't set well with many. I hope this amendment issue finally convinces the board that by being open and straightforward as possible, builds trust and confidence in board decisions, and in the end, takes less effort on important issues if the time is put in upfront, building member trust in board decisions. And if it fails, the board should take accountability. They need
That's
to
3
address the
minutes, Tom.
trust issue
That's time.
in public.
Okay.
Nico Sergio, 62 Brumma Lane. We have this upcoming master plan. I would like to know if the board or Bill Ward could give us a write-up on the definition of the master plan in relation to the strategic plan and all of the other plans so that we can understand what we're spending money on. So what is the difference between all these different plans and how do they interface with each other? Thank you.
Any other member comments? Oh, I'm sorry, you're gonna have something out? Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah, I just want to make sure, yeah, I just want to make sure when you start talking that you go to the microphone so everybody at home can hear you.
Okay. What I'm asking for is request, when you put your home up for sale,
Yes, please state your name and your address.
my name is Jim Graham. I live at 15 Felix Court here in Fairfield Glade. We presently got our home up for sale. We live on Felix Court, which is not on a main drag, it's off to the side. We got a real estate sign with a flyer box in our front yard that nobody ever sees because it's not a well-traveled street. The only people come down our street are the people who live on that street or that court. There's about 10 of us. And of course, United Parcel, the post office, and people who cut the grass. And none of them people are interested in buying my home. So we got a problem. We have gone to one of the realtors to sell our home. But when people travel through the community looking to buy a home, or maybe they got a friend going around looking to buy a home for a friend, they bypass our property because you can't see it when you go down Melbourne. Felix Court and Melbourne is our main road that goes by there. And so when people travel down Melbourne, they don't see our sign. Now, if they happen to be looking down that street, they may or may not see it. It's just not in a position where it can be observed like a traffic like you see in all the other homes for sale in the community. What we're requesting is approval to have a sign put up on the corner saying, home for sale. Now, this doesn't have to be a big billboard, a big billboard or anything like that. Just a small sign, look like an arrow, home for sale. We need permission to do that. We're only allowed to put up that once in our yard. When we have like yard sales and, estate sales, there's signs all over the community. The only one missing is one said Burma shave. There's so many of them and all that. So, you didn't catch that Burma shave? Tell the age group around here. So, but basically, we're just asking for, me and my wife, we're just asking permission for that realtor to put a sign up there on the corner saying, home
1
for
minute,
sale.
Mr. Graham.
And it's quite simple, no more time. If there's any questions, we're glad to answer.
I'll bring that up to the ACC. They are the ones that oversee the rules associated with signs. And
We was at that committee already.
Okay.
And they told us no.
Well,
I don't want people to get so entrenched that this is our rules.
yeah.
They say, well, you can do social media, you can do this, you can do that, which we are doing. But we're eliminated from one, like all other homeowners. I want all the full money. I don't want 90%. I want the full money of trying to sell our home. It may help and it may not. But we want we want that right, that response, we want that right to put that one side, have the realtor put that sign up. And there's other places in this community that are the same way if you look around. But I'm talking about the Grahams right now.
Is it possible to put that one sign at the corner with an arrow and have your address so that could be used instead of being in your front yard, which you say nobody sees? can the realtor put your address on that for sale sign with an arrow? Is that legitimate?
Barb, there's the appeal process for these types of
Yeah,
decisions.
Okay,
gonna say-
well, that was what I was gonna
Yeah, that-
suggest to him to possibly do and see if an appeal.
I think what we have to do, because what he's asking for are variances against the sign policy. And if you would like to have a hearing on that, there's an appeals process, there's a form you can get over at admin 2, and you can go over there, I'm sorry, at the ACC office. You can go over there, fill that out, and then you can have a hearing with the board about what you're trying to do. Okay?
There are also restrictions in the CNRs as to real estate signs that can.
Could you speak up, Madam Law?
There are restrictions in the CNRs as to real estate signage on common streets. That's another issue pertaining to this. And part of that involves the declarance rights.
Okay? All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Beth Jones, Hickory Ridge Lane. Can I ask Monica a question about the fence policy? Have you had hundreds of complaints from people riding around saying they can see fences from the road?
I wouldn't say that we've had
Mic drop.
hundreds. To get that number, I can ask Tiffany what the number is.
I would like to know because
It's been throughout time more than just recent.
I will be sending in lots more comments on it.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah? Any other comments from the floor?
My name is Linda Nyquist, and I live at 127 Bromley Lane. I'm a walker. I do a lot of walking, and I'm wondering, there was a lightning strike fire on the corner of St. George Place and I think it's called Durham Lane in the spring. And they came in and they cut down the trees and they just pushed them back into the woods. You walk down that beautiful little street. It's like a street that's a wonderful picture for spring, summer, winter, fall. It's so pretty in there. And there's trees, dead trees, pushed back into the woods all over the place. And everywhere you go, whenever there's a fire or anything goes on, they just push the dead trees off the road onto the side. And it just ruins the beauty of Fairfield Glade. And I'm wondering if there's anybody who's interested in forest management, what we're going to do to clean up all the dead wood we have all over Fairfield Glade.
Okay? Any other comments? Hearing none, I will remind everybody to please come at 1 p.m. today here to the center or look on live stream for the declarance presentation. With that, I'm looking for a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming.